How do you save a relationship from a breakup? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video, but first, my name is Clay with Modern Loved Out Life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not, because you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, please do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up and by subscribing to this channel so we can, boost it a little bit in the YouTube algorithm. So today is the day that we're going to be making the big announcement that I've been hinting at for the past couple videos. And that is that we have a new course. It's called Effortless Connection. We're launching it right now. There's a special launch promotion that you can find in the description box down below. But what this course is it basically helps you to bring your relationship back into alignment so that you can, make the relationship work and save it. So let's go ahead and talk about relationships and how they get out of alignment. So I've done a lot of, coaching calls with people over the years, more than I can probably count. And when I'm listening to someone's relationship story, there are really three things that I've noticed that kind of come out of alignment in that relationship. That cause the relationship to start to decline. And what's interesting is that when we start to bring these three things back into alignment, the relationship starts to get better and they can, get back together if they've broken up, or they can kind of keep the relationship strong if they're, haven't gotten to the point of breakup or divorce yet and all that. And these are the same strategies that, once I was able to kind of put the picture together in my mind, I started putting into practice in my own marriage, and my own marriage started to get a whole lot smoother. So I use these things too myself. My marriage doesn't get that far out of alignment these days, thankfully, so I use them in like little small ways, but you can use these in big ways as well too. So let's go ahead and get into this. There are three main things that get out of alignment that cause a relationship to suffer. The first one, and this is usually the first one that I recommend that most people start with, is that at some point, the two people in the relationship stop seeing each other as being on the same team, and they start seeing each other as being on opposite teams. Now, this can obviously take the form of something really dramatic, like fighting, arguing, screaming, all that sort of stuff. But it can show up in much more subtle ways as well, too, such as not feeling like you can really open up and share the honest truth about what you're thinking or feeling with your partner. Or maybe you're not sure what your partner's intentions are. Maybe they're not sure what your intentions are. But there's this sort of divide that's growing between the two of you that's like, okay, you're someone I have to be a little bit careful of. You're someone that I can't really open up with. You're someone that I have to have my guard up against. And this whole being on the same team versus being on different teams, it is usually the first thing that we have people work on, okay? Because it kind of sets things up further on down with the other two things that get out of alignment to work much better. So that is the first thing that can cause a relationship to struggle, is getting out of alignment when it comes to being on the same team. The second thing is that the two people stop communicating clearly with one another. And by communication, specifically what I'm saying is, there are going to be things that happen as we talk, as we communicate back and forth with one another, and we don't necessarily understand why they happened, why someone said something that they said, why someone did something that they did, why it took someone a long time to respond to a text message, or why they made some sort of cryptic comment, or why they phrased something a certain way, or whatever. And oftentimes these kind of create gaps in our understanding. We don't know why they did it. We don't know what their intention was. And our natural inclination is for us to use our mind to fill in these gaps to try to make meaning out of the situation. So what can unfortunately happen for many of us is that our limiting beliefs, our fears, our anxieties, our doubts, all of these sorts of things can end up being projected into the gap. And we end up seeing things like, oh, they're trying to tell me that they don't want to be with me anymore. They're trying to let me down easy. They're hoping that I take a hint. This is just proof that I'm unlovable. This is just proof that I'm not good enough. This is just proof that, men or women always leave me in the end, and so on and so forth. And what we want to do is we want to obviously minimize the number of gaps that we leave for our partner to fall into themselves, because they have their own stuff that they're dealing with. But whenever we notice a gap that they leave for us, we want to try to close the gap rather than fill it in with our own stuff, our own fears, insecurities, and anxieties. And we can do this cooperatively by just, turning towards our partner and saying, hey, when you said that, what did you mean by it, right? And this works a whole lot better if you have the whole same team aspect in place first and foremost. So that's the second thing that gets out of alignment, and obviously clear communication that minimizes gaps and fills in and closes gaps cooperatively is going to be helpful at kind of maintaining a smooth relationship dynamic. And the third thing that gets out of alignment is that the two people in the relationship just don't trust one another. And by trust, specifically what I'm talking about is, can they consistently operate on the same team, and can they consistently communicate clearly in a way that minimizes or closes these gaps before they turn into big gaping canyons that we often fill with, all sorts of evidence that this other person is dangerous and that they are just trying to screw us over or something like that. And so trust is something that, if you are able to consistently show up, yesterday, today, day after that, day after that, day after that, eventually something's going to switch in your partner's mind or your mind. And that's going to say, okay, this is it. I can just trust that this is going to work out. I can trust that you're going to be this person that we can cooperate with, that we can have this great communication with, that we can have a relationship with, that we can continue to go on this journey of life, this endless path of life together with, and we can continue to build a life together with. And so these are the three things that can get out of alignment in a relationship. And if we start to bring them back into alignment, the relationship starts to work a whole lot better. This is something that I have coached a lot of people on, whether they are currently in a relationship that's struggling, whether they're going through a breakup and they still have the ability to communicate with their ex, and all sorts of things. And this can definitely bring things back into alignment and tighten these sorts of things up. And so this is really what we're covering in our new course called Effortless Connection. Like I said before, this is the first day that we're officially announcing this being open. So we have some special, launch discounts and bonuses and stuff like that. Go ahead and find them down in the description box below. I'm not going to say them here on YouTube because, I don't know if you're going to watch this video on the day that I publish it or, months or years down the line. And I don't want to necessarily say something that someone might see down the line and then they're like, oh, hey, is that still available? No, it's not. We have our launch bonus that's going from now until November 22nd or until the first 50 people sign up, whichever happens first. But, I'll keep you updated on all of this. But yeah, that's what's going on. Again, Effortless Connection is brand new. I kind of created it with a group of coaching people over the summer, and now we're ready to officially launch it to the world. So here it is. But yeah, those are the ways that you can save your relationship from a breakup. Focus on those three things: being on the same team, communicating with one another so that you can minimize these gaps, and building trust, okay? And it's through constantly doing this that you're going to start to restore balance in your relationship. Whether your relationship is, doing okay and doing all right, but it could use a little bit of a lift, or whether things are really bad and maybe even falling apart, or maybe even have already fallen apart and the two of you are already broken up. And another thing that you might be wondering is like, okay, how is this different from the X Solution course, right? And that's a good question. Effortless Connection is really for you if communication is the big thing that you need to work on. And if you have the ability to be in contact and communicate with your ex or partner. If they're just not talking to you because too much damage has been done or something like that, or communication isn't the right thing for you, then Effortless Connection is probably not the right path to take. But if you do want to focus on communication and you do have the ability to communicate with your partner or ex, then yeah, Effortless Connection might be a good fit for you. On the other hand, if you want to learn more about your ex's emotional experience, the emotional world that they go through, such as wall of reactance, test drive stage, riding the dragon, crisis point, new beginnings, and all that, how to get from one spot to the next, and how to connect with them through the emotional level, then the X Solution course is probably the right choice for you in that case. Anyway, with all that being said, that's the big announcement. Thank you so much for listening to that. I hope that, even if you don't decide to join with us, you can kind of take the lessons from this video and maybe apply them to your relationship or future relationship moving forward from here. But once again, you can find the link for Effortless Connection down below in the description box. Thank you so much. If you did find this useful and helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, and feel free to subscribe as well too. Once again, if you want to learn more about your ex's emotional world, please feel free to check out this video series over here on your ex's 5 stages, or you might want to check out this video right here. But thanks so much. That's our big announcement. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you again next time. Please take care.